The job of the Bob is to generate public key as well as private key. Even any advisory, if they want to perform any attack on RSA, then they need to calculate E root to the power C mod n. See, both are prime numbers, because if I consider 13, 13 is going to divide by itself and 1. Even 11 divided by itself and 1. Hello to all, a warm welcome to my new session on asymmetric key cryptography. I am Revati from the Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram, First Grade College, Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. So dear student, before going to start my today's session, let me to recall the things what I have covered in my previous session. In my previous session, I started with Chinese remainder theorem. Along with that, I solved one example. Now, in my today's session, I'm going to deal with introduction about asymmetric key cryptography or asymmetric key crypto system. Along with that, I'm going to deal with keys as well as the example for asymmetric key crypto system, that is RSA algorithm. Now, so if I consider cryptographic system, there are two types of cryptographic system. What are the two types? That is asymmetric as well as symmetric. So what is symmetric? So here symmetric cryptography or crypto system is mainly based on the sharing key. So what is this sharing key? That is single secret key or private key is shared between sender as well as receiver. And if I go with asymmetric key cryptography, it's mainly based on personal secrecy. So asymmetric key means here once again I'm going to use two key. One is public key and another one is private key. So who's going to use these two keys and who's going to generate these two keys? That is none other than receiver. For example, think that Bob is going to generate public key as well as private key, and these kind of keys are known as asymmetric. So asymmetric means what? Two keys. Now if I consider asymmetric key crypto system, it's mainly based on private key as well as public key, and locking and unlocking in asymmetric key done by using private key as well as public key. So what is this locking? Locking is nothing but encryption. And what is this unlocking? That is nothing but decryption. Now this is the diagram I'm going to have for asymmetric key crypto system. Now if I consider this diagram, I'm having two entities, that is sender as well as receiver. So I'll make it sender, that is nothing but Alice, and I'm going to have receiver. Receiver is none other than Bob. Now the job of the Bob is to generate public key as well as private key, and after generating both the keys, Bob is going to private key for his own reference or for his own use. So he's going to keep private key for his own use. Now the public key is made public or announced public to all the user, and the same key is given to the Alice. Now what is the job of the Alice? Alice is going to use public key to encrypt a given plain text to ciphertext. So now Alice is going to have encryption algorithm, and she's going to apply encryption algorithm with the help of key as well as plain text. Then what is the output here? I'm going to get the ciphertext C. And the public key locks and private key unlocks. So what is this lock? Here public key is used to perform encryption algorithm, whereas private key is used to perform decryption algorithm. And the communication direction, that means after converting plain text to ciphertext, now the job of the Alice is to send ciphertext to Bob. Now Bob is going to receive ciphertext. Now he is going to apply private key to decrypt the ciphertext. After applying decryption algorithm, Bob is going to get the plain text or plain text message. This is the way asymmetric key crypto system is going to work, and this is the best algorithm we are going to use. So this is the example for modern block cipher. Now, dear student, from the examination point of view, this asymmetric key cryptography system is also very important topic. Now, moving further, I'm going to have the general idea behind asymmetric key. Now, see here, I'm going to have sender. Sender is nothing but the Alice, whereas I'm going to have the receiver, and receiver is going to have the key generation algorithm to generate private key as well as public key. Now, the private key is kept for their own use and the public key is distributed over the channel. Now, the public key is distributed to all the user through distribution channel, and the same key is received by the Alice. Now, Alice is going to convert plain text to ciphertext by using encryption algorithm as well as public key of Bob. After that, she is going to send the Now Bob is going to apply the decryption algorithm with the help of private key. That means input to the decryption algorithm is ciphertext as well as private key. After that, he is going to get the plain text, and this is the way the asymmetric key crypto system is going to work. Now, if I consider asymmetric key, the general idea behind asymmetric key here is plain text as well as ciphertext. So here, if I consider symmetric key crypto system, the plain text as well as ciphertext are treated as integers. That means if I consider asymmetric key crypto system, the plain text as well as the ciphertexts are treated as integer. Okay, but if I consider asymmetric key crypto system, then the plain text can be either number, digit, symbol or any alphabet. But here we are going to consider ciphertext as well as plain text as integer in asymmetric key cryptography or crypto system. So here I am going to have the encryption formula as well as decryption formula, and to indicate it is encryption, I am going to use the letter F, and I am going to use public key and plain text. This is the input to the encryption algorithm. And if I consider decryption, or at the receiver side, I am going to have the decryption algorithm. Then what is the input to this decryption algorithm? That is private key as well as ciphertext. So these two are the input parameters to this decryption algorithm. And if I consider encryption algorithm, public key as well as plain text are the parameters to this encryption algorithm. Now, I'm going to have the RSA. So, dear student, if I consider asymmetric key crypto system, the most commonly and most frequently used asymmetric key crypto system is RSA. Now, this is the most common public key encryption algorithm, and it is named by Vidhyaashram and Edelman. So, first letter of their name, okay, we are going to consider. For that reason, it is termed as RSA. And this is the most commonly used asymmetric key encryption algorithm. And it is mainly based on the modular exponentiation. Okay, so RSA is mainly based on the modular exponentiation for encryption as well as decryption. And even any advisory, if they want to perform any attack on RSA, then they need to calculate E root to the power C mod n, and this is the overall working procedure of RSA. So in RSA algorithm, we are going to use three parts. One is key generation algorithm, another one decryption algorithm, another one encryption algorithm. And it is mainly based on the modular exponentiation. So here Alice is going to have the plain text P, and she is going to perform encryption algorithm on the plain text. After performing encryption algorithm, she is going to get the ciphertext as output, and that is sent to the Bob. And at the Bob side, Bob is going to apply decryption algorithm with the help of private key, and he is going to get the plain text. And even if an advisory want to perform any attack on ciphertext, then they have to find out the exponential complexity. So dear student, please remember one thing, that to transfer ciphertext from one end to another end, we are going to use insecure channel, and to transfer keys, we are going to use secure channel. So this is the way RSA algorithm is going to work. Now I'm going to have the procedure. That means how this RSA algorithm is going to work. Now at the beginning, I'm going to have the key generation algorithm. First, I need to generate the key. Now tell me, who is responsible for generating key? That is none other than Bob. So Bob is going to generate public key as well as private key. So what Bob is going to do here, okay, when he apply or he perform any key generation algorithm, then he want to select any two prime numbers, say P and Q, and please make sure that P is not equal to Q. After that, I want to find out N. How can I find? That is P into Q. That is P into Q, where pi of N tends to P minus 1 and Q minus 1. Now, I want to select E, that is encryption, that is E. So, E must be lies between 1 less than E less than pi of N, and here E must be co-prime to pi of N. Now, D equal to e to the power minus 1 mod pi of n. That means to calculate d, I'm going to have encryption inverse mod pi of n, and my public key here is e and n, and my private key is d, and I'm going to return public key as well as private key. That means this is the key generation algorithm for public key as well as private key. Now, dear student, if I consider encryption algorithm, what is the input to the encryption algorithm? That is P, E and N. So here I'm going to perform fast encryption or fast exponentiation or encryption algorithm, and what is the input to this encryption algorithm? P, E and N, and I'm going to get the ciphertext, and I'm going to return the ciphertext. And what is the length of P and Q here? That must be at least 512 bits, and N must be at least 1024 bits. Here I'm going to have a decryption algorithm. So what are the parameters? Ciphertext, private key and N, and I'm going to perform decryption algorithm with the parameters C, D and N, and I'm going to get the plain text. So here C is the ciphertext, and to calculate that I'm going to have the formula C to the power D mod N. So this is the algorithm I want to remember while studying for exam. So you're going to get the questions like explain RSA algorithm with key generation as well as encryption and decryption, and it carries 7 or 8 marks. Even dear student, you can expect problems under this topic. Now let me to solve the problems here. So dear student, in the given problem, P and Q both are prime numbers. In the key generation algorithm, what is my first step? Want to select P and Q, and that must be prime numbers. So here P equal to 13 and Q equal to 11, and this is my first step. In my second step, what I want to do, I want to find N equal to P into Q. That is 13 into 11, 143. Now, in my third step, I want to find the pi of n. That is nothing but P minus 1 into Q minus 1. Okay, fine. Now, what is P? P is 13. 13 minus 1, it is 12 into Q is 11. 11 minus 1, it is 10. So, what is my answer? It is 120. Now, I want to select E, and while selecting E, E must be lies between 1 and pi of n. So, it is less than 1. Okay, then E must be less than pi of n. Okay, now I want to select E in such a way that it must be a prime number as well as it must lies between 1 and pi of n. So here I got E value 13, and if I consider 13 and 120, so these two are relatively prime number. These two are relatively prime number. So dear student, here E is nothing but 13, and this is my public key. This is my public key. Okay, fine. In my step 5, I want to find out ED equal to 1 mod pi of n. So dear student, it can be simplified as d equal to pi of n into I plus 1 divided by E. Okay, now you may ask me, what is this I? So I want to substitute I value, and I is going to range from I equal to 1, 2, 3 up to n. Fine. Now let me to substitute I equal to 1. So it is, what is pi of n? Pi of n is 120 into 1 plus 1 divided by 13. So here it is 121 divided by 13. So I'm going to get some fractional point. So it is not a prime number. Even I cannot able to consider 1. And if I start with I equal to 2. So 120 into 2 plus 1 divided by 13. So it is 241 divided by 13. So I'm going to get some fractional value. So I cannot able to consider I2. Now I equal to 3. Okay, now if I substitute I equal to 3, once again I'm going to get some negative value. So I cannot able to consider. Now I is incremented by 1. Now I is 4. I equal to 4. So 120 into 4 plus 1 divided by 13. So 120 into 4. So 481 divided by 13. Okay. So when I divide 481 divided by 13, okay, I'm going to get the value 37. So I'm going to consider only 37, because when I divide 148 by 13, I'm going to get the whole number, and that is 37. So dear student, let me to revise these steps once again. So I repeat, dear student, first I want to find out P and Q. That means I want to select P and Q. Okay, that must be prime number. And if I consider 13 and 11, see, both are prime numbers, because if I consider 13, 13 is going to divide by itself and 1. Even 11 divided by itself and 1. After that, what is my next step? I want to find the n value. How can I find? For that, I'm going to have the formula n equal to P into Q. So I'm going to find out 143. Now let me to write n equal to 143. Fine. Now what is pi? For pi, I'm going to have the formula P minus 1 into Q minus 1. After performing P minus 1 into Q minus 1, I'm going to get 120. Okay, now I want to select E that must be lies between 1 and 120. And whatever the P I'm going to select, that is my public key. So I'll take E equal to 13. After that, I want to find out ED equal to 1 mod pi of n. Now, I'm going to simplify this form, that is D equal to pi of n into I plus 1 whole divided by E. And I'm going to start substituting I value. So, I ranges from 1, 2, 3 up to n. So at the beginning, I'm going to take I equal to 1 and I'm going to substitute the value. So after substituting value, I'm going to get 121 divided by 13. So I'm going to get some fraction value 9.30. So I'm going to increment I by 1. Now I is 2. Once again, I'm going to get some fraction value. So I cannot able to consider I equal to 2. So dear student, here I cannot able to consider I equal to 3 because I'm going to get once again some fractional value. Now I is incremented by 1. Now I equal to 4. Okay, so I'm going to get whole number, that is nothing but the 37. And what is the meaning of this D? That is nothing but decryption. It is 37. When E is encryption, then it is public key, and I am here having private key. Okay, now you got the values like n, pi of n, e and d. Now dear student, let me to erase this thing. Okay, then I'm going to continue with the further step. So dear student, please note down the steps. Okay, now I'm going to erase this one. After that, I'm going to continue with the rest of the steps. So dear student, I know E equal to 13, D equal to 37, pi of n equal to 120 and n equal to 143. So we got this value. Okay. Now what is my encryption algorithm? What is the input? That is E and N. So what is E? A is 13 and what is N? 143. Now what is my decryption algorithm? That is my private key. What is my private key? That is 37, 143. Okay, now dear student, let me to find out ciphertext. So what is the formula for ciphertext? Ciphertext C equal to P to the power E mod N. So what is P? In the given question, P is nothing but 13 to the power 13 mod 143 to the mod 143. Now I want to find out 13 to the power 13. So after finding out 13 to the power 13 mod 143, I'm going to get the ciphertext 52, and this is sent to the receiver, and at the receiving end Bob is going to apply decryption algorithm to find out the plain text. So C of D mod N. So this is the algorithm used to find out plain text, and this is the algorithm used to find out ciphertext. Now substitute the value. What is C? It is 52. And what is D? It is 37 mod 143. Okay, so after performing 52 to the power 37 mod 143, I'm going to get the value P equal to 13. So this is the way I can able to encrypt the value and I can able to decrypt the value. Okay, dear student, I'm going to repeat this step once again. Till now we came to know that what is E, what is D, what is pi of n and what is n, and how to find out pi of n and n value. Now I want to find out the key as well as I want to perform encryption algorithm as well as decryption algorithm. And what is the encryption formula? That is public key and n. For the decryption, it is private key and n. Now, I want to find out ciphertext. For that, I am going to have the formula C equal to P to the power E mod n. After performing 13 to the power 13 mod 143, I am going to get the ciphertext 52. And this ciphertext is sent to the receiver, and at the receiver end, receiver is going to apply decryption algorithm. And what's the input to the decryption algorithm? That is ciphertext as well as private key of the receiver and mod n. So I'm going to have the ciphertext 50 to the power 37, 50 to the power 37 mod 143. So after performing modulo operation, I'm going to get the plain text, that is 13. So this is the way I can able to perform RSA encryption as well as decryption. So dear student, in my today's session, I started with what is asymmetric key crypto system. Along with that, I explained the working procedure of RSA algorithm. Along with that, I solved one simple problem. And from the examination point of view, RSA algorithm as well as the problems are very important. So dear student, this is all about today's session. Let's meet in the next session with some more information about asymmetric crypto system. Until that, keep learning and keep watching. Thank you.